Air-Clips.com.
Ja, grüezi miteinander and hi everyone, welcome on board. My name is Tamara Sandra, I'm your captain today. We fly you today from Zurich in Switzerland towards Kos in Greek, and this will be with the Embraer E2 from Helvetic Airways. And Helvetic Airways is a small but cool Swiss airline with 16 aircrafts with the slogan Swiss quality all along the line.
Good morning, dear Air-Clips viewers. My name is Sandra Meister. I am your senior first officer today on this flight. And you are right now in our briefing room in the operations center. This is the place where we meet in the morning to do our briefing, to check how the other one is, if he slept well. So what we do in the next minutes is we'll check all the documents, see how the aircraft is right now, if there are any issues. We check the weather, we check if the airports have any differences to a normal operation. So we started our day pretty early. I woke up at 15 past 4 o'clock, so
Me too.
we'll see, it will be a long day, but we look forward to share this day with you. So I already checked.
The chance to check everything?
Yes, I did. So I tried to reload again the new flight plan because we checked before with our operations center if we need to recalculate the flight plan. This morning it's a little bit foggy in Zurich. This means we need a takeoff alternate. So we called our company to recalculate this flight plan. So they calculated in the office, send it to our EFB, and I try to reload it right now if I'm able to get the connection, which looks good.
Shall I reload it or is it okay?
It looks good, so try to download it right now. So you see we have a completely paperless preparation except for our personal sheets where we have our notes about flight number, duration and specials. So everyone has a different sheet where they make their own notes. So the flight is downloaded. I will send it to you.
Yes, please.
So first of all, we have Alpha Zulu Delta, which is the Embraer 190 E2. This aircraft has a few things in the MEL list. Let me see. So first of all, the toilet door mechanism is damaged. However, it's operational, but there's something different we have to check in the aircraft.
Yes.
But the usage is no problem. Then we have some paint damage at the right-hand wing and as well on the forward box door.
Yep.
And then we have the general issues, small ones, but we have to consider that we have to switch a TRU essential bus off for the power up, and as well the special procedure if you have no GPU available.
Exactly.
That's the aircraft. So
and just for the first flight today, we have to check the lights and the brakes.
Correct, because there was no maintenance action this night. That's true. So the next thing would be the weather. As already said, we have fog in Zurich. Right now it's not that bad, becoming 2,500 meters visibility. However, in the TOF it states that we have a probability of 30% of 500 meters fog. Therefore, we have the takeoff alternate Geneva, which has no fog at all.
Most probably we don't use it, but just to be sure, that's fine for me. Yeah.
That's
in the afternoon it looks fine.
Zurich as well, fine in the afternoon. Kos as well, nice weather, a bit windy, a bit gusty, but no bigger issue. And as well the weather for the alternates, Rhodos and back on the leg to Basel, we have good weather.
Yep.
En route, I just saw that we have some thunderstorms, probably over the Alps. So maybe the first 20-30 minutes, we might have a few bumps or turbulences. Otherwise, it should be fine for the rest of the flights.
Yeah, we'll check when we switch off the seatbelt sign how it looks.
Exactly.
But I think in the morning it will be all right.
Yes. Then next thing would be The crew is 3 and 4, pantry delta, so I will verify that with our handling partner.
Yeah.
And NOTAM-wise, Zurich is fine. There's a difference in the holding level at Rawet. However, we don't use Rawet today, most likely. Kos is fine. They have bird activity. They have a NOTAM about transponder setting. However, this is compliant with our company procedure. So
exactly.
No differences here. They have no RVR measurement, which you don't need today. And a changed tower frequency, but it's already available on the chart, the new frequency, so that's fine. Rhodos as well, NOTAM-wise fine, and the same with Basel. Basel is fine as well. They have the ILS Yankee 33 and Arnav 33 suspended.
Yep. Well
but
known.
We have other options there, so no issue. What else? That's the NOTAM. Then we have the load sheet in Kos, which we will get from the handling agent there, so we don't have to calculate it by ourselves. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, I just checked. We have a tow bar in Kos, so that's no problem for the parking stand.
Yeah, true.
And the landing performance assessment is not required today.
True.
The runway is just, the length is just enough.
Yeah, true. So that works.
And if we do just a 2P shortly for today, terrain, I see just the Alps, which is well known. Weather-wise, maybe a little bit windy in Kos, so there may be a wind shear procedure to be briefed. Operationally wise, I don't see anything, and pilot-wise, well, we just checked, we're fit.
True. I just can say I was in holidays for 1 week and I didn't fly before my holidays for 2 weeks, so maybe I'm not that much into trading right now, but you let me know whenever you see something.
Same.
Perfect.
And we won't get distracted from all these cameras. Hopefully.
We try our best.
We try our best. A little bit nervous though.
Very good.
Have you seen anything 2P right now?
That's about it. I've got the same points on the list, so for me that's good.
Which leg do you want to fly?
Because of the reasons I told you before, I would prefer to fly leg 2, so from Kos back to Zurich.
Perfect.
So what you do right now is we go into our flight. So I have chosen leg 2. This means I will fly the second leg back from Kos in Greece to Zurich in Switzerland. And what I do right now is I go into my flight plan and check the numbers. For example, what is the trip fuel? What is the minimum block? Do I need to alternate, or do I want to have it in my calculation? And then I can make some adjustments. So I have chosen our standard alternate, which is ball. And I can add some additional amount. For example, we have a turnaround where we use the APU as well to get some cabin circulation due to the corona restrictions or COVID restrictions. This means we need maybe a little bit more fuel than normal, so I can add 100 kilograms more for that. So this will give me in the end a total burn. And for me in this case, this means I expect a trip fuel of 4.4. Then we need for the taxi approximately 200 kilograms. And together with the final reserve and the alternate fuel and contingency fuel, this gives me a minimum block of 6.5 tons. So I take another 581 kilograms for reasons such as holding. So it's weekend, it's Saturday in Zurich. This means we could expect maybe a holding when we return back to Zurich, or maybe as well we have to circumnavigate some thunderstorms. So I have some extra fuel with me before we have to make a decision, for example, to divert. So 7.1 is my wish, so we will see if Tamara's happy with that one.
I'm perfectly happy with that one. That sounds great.
Okay.
And perfectly explained.
7.1 and the trip fuel will be 4.4. So I will send that back to you. So we always synchronize our flights so everyone has the same data on their sheet.
Perfect. And for leg 1, from Zurich to Kos, we actually have a gain. That means the fuel in Kos is much more expensive than in Zurich. So we take a little bit more fuel from Zurich just to gain a little bit. I calculated it, just we don't have to do an overweight landing in Kos, which is limiting today. We could take more than 9.5 tons with us, but this would be too much, so we take 8 tons, if that's fine for you. That would be extra fuel of 2,200.
That sounds good. So this means with a zero fuel mass of 43.1 and 80, yeah, that with 8 tons, that's fine. So we are well below max landing mass.
But we are for the takeoff, we're just about 2 tons over max landing weight.
Perfect.
Just to take that in account.
That sounds good.
Sorry.
8 tons and the trip is 3.8.
Yeah.
Okay.
And eco tankage
Eco-tankage, yeah.
activated. And just to explain why we don't take the maximum amount of fuel we could take with us, it's like per ton we are heavier. We need 70 kilogram more of fuel. So we don't fill it up every time. I mean, 70 kilo doesn't sound too much. With 70 kilos, I can fill up my car 2 times. But if you count that on all the flights you do, it would be quite a lot. And I'll send it to you.
Perfect. So that's about it. I will call now our handling partner to give them our fuel numbers so they know how much I have to fuel at the aircraft. And as well, I give them some numbers about our dry operating weight and index so we can get a proper and correct load sheet in the ends.
And you can order the bus for, let's say, 35.
Yeah, 735. Okay, perfect. Good. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine. Fine. How are you?
Very good. Fine, thank you.
Good. Well, welcome on the flight to Kos this morning. We're on Hotel Bravo Alpha Zulu Delta E2. I think more common now to you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, today most of it will be English. You already have heard of it. I will do a video today, but if something on Swiss German, it's fine as well.
I'll do my best to speak Swiss German.
Or well, yeah, maybe English is better for you.
No, it's no problem. No problem.
The aircraft stands on Golf 13. This is in the very back, so that's a long taxi. Good time for you. There's just one thing in the cabin. Forward toilet closing mechanism is broken, something, but the door works, should work normally. We can check it again on the aircraft, but it should be fine. And yeah, we'll do a belt oxygen life vest demo to Kos and on the return flight as well. No surge, and flight time and weather from Sandra.
Yes, first leg we expect to have 2 hours and 25 minutes. And for the return leg, 2 hours and 50 minutes. 50, yes. Oh. We have a bit of headwind there, so it's a bit a longer leg to return to Zurich. The weather en route should be fine. However, as you can see on our route, we will overfly the Alps. So between Zurich and Austria, we expect to have maybe some turbulence in the climb due to some towering cumulus or thunderstorm, but however, for the longest part of the flight across the Balkan and then Aegean should be fine. So the same for the return flight, fine weather, but maybe some turbulences in the
That's the first half hour of
descent.
the flight?
Yeah, maybe around that, exactly. Weather in Rhodos, very nice, sunny, 26 degrees,
Course.
a bit windy, yes. And back in Zurich, bit cloudy, 23 degrees. That's about it.
Perfect. Just two more things I would like to discuss. In the cockpit, we'll take off our mask during the flight, maybe as well on ground. Is it for you okay, or shall we take it on when you come in?
For me, it's okay.
For you as well?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Otherwise, you can say it anytime.
No problem.
And the other thing I heard is that the head tracks will open sometimes during taxi. Have you
I've
that?
experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it would be cool if you just give me a call until cabin crew prepare for departure. You can call me, give me a call, you will close it, and that's fine.
Perfect. Yeah.
Just while you're closing, try to close it really good, so
That's
it
the
won't
problem.
happen
That's
at
the problem.
yeah.
It only, if you don't really push it, then it only closes halfway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the video camera is working on the Delta, so you can see when I'm
Yeah.
back on my cruise seat.
exactly.
Perfect.
Just give me a call and I see when your seat take your seat again, and that's fine.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Anything for you from you?
Yeah.
Good.
All good. Ready to go?
Good. Ready to go.
Thank you.
So guys, we are right now at the aircraft, Alpha Zulu Delta, our E2, brand new E2 model. So I start my walk-around inspection, external inspection. So the first thing I have a look is the passenger door. This one had an entry in the book that there are some paint damages, which you can see here, but they are fine. The mechanics had a look at it, so everything is good here. So now we go downstairs and have a look around the aircraft. We usually do a specific sequence around the aircraft so we don't forget to look at an item. So the first thing I have a look at is the receptacle of the GPU. So at the moment the aircraft is powered by the ground power unit. This helps us to check all the instruments until we have our own power from the engines. So this one is fine. At the same time I can have a look at the nose landing gear. I check the doors, that we have no leakages, that everything looks as it should. There is no hydraulic oil at the outside. And right now you can see as well that we have two towing lights. At the moment it says no towing because we set the parking brake. As soon as we release the parking brake and the steering is disengaged, it will switch to a green light.
Well guys, I firstly have to do a checklist, as usually in the cockpit, to power up the aircraft. But first we have to do an internal inspection, just to make sure everything is all right. So I checked before the maintenance status in the books. Cockpit emergency equipment we checked when we arrived in the cockpit, so everything is here, life vests and firefighting equipment and so on. And then I checked the electrical panel, so I see everything is fine. Ground power is already connected. Fuel panel, I check all knobs on the right position. Passenger signs panel as well. Windshield wiper as well. Hydraulic panel as well, correct. Air conditioning panel looks fine. Passenger oxygen is good. ELT switch is armed. Landing gear lever is down. Engine 1 and 2 start-stop selectors are on stop. Speed brake lever is closed. Rat manual deployment is stowed. Sled flap is on 0. Circuit breakers are checked.
The first thing which I check is the radom, where we have the radar inside, so we can check the weather and route. As well, you can see a lot of sensors around the nose. So what we have right now is the 2 large sensors on the right side and 2 large sensors on the left side, which are called Air Data Smart Probes. They have a pitot probe and a static port, and they have computers integrated, so they calculate speed, altitude and everything and send the data to the cockpit. At the same time, you have as well an ice detector on every side and a true air temperature detector and sensor. So all these data go towards the cockpit instruments and helps us during the flight. I will check those sensors and probes to make sure that there is no bee inside or no foreign object which could obstruct the whole thing.
Well, then we do the power up as well with the checklist. First of all, both batteries turning on, and then we have to wait until display unit 1 and 4 comes on until we switch then the ground power to on. This takes some few seconds or even a minute. In the meanwhile, I can check the documents. All documents are here and fine.
So this one looks good. They also had the cover on during the night, so there shouldn't be anything right now, should be fine. As well, on the right hand side, everything looks good. I checked the radom as well, that all the latches are closed, so that looks good. Forward service door is fine as well. And you can see that you have an oxygen discharge indicator, a green light. So this one must be green, otherwise we couldn't fly. We would have to call the maintenance. But that looks fine right now, so all good. As well, on the lower side we have all the antennas. They are all in place, they are not bended in any way or broken, so that's fine as well. Now we go to the fuselage part. I have a look at all the air inlets to check if there are no bird nests inside, and all the inlets are free of any objects.
Well, you see here it's an aircraft with a lot of computer. It takes some time to power it up, but now it's powered up, and I'll check the fire extinguisher panel. For that I have a test button. I'll press and all the lights which have to illuminate will illuminate. The fire handles for the engines, but also cargo thing and APU. And down here we have the messages and the warnings. Everything's fine.
The most interesting part about the E2 is this engine. It's a big difference to the previous model, the E1. So what we have right here is the Pratt & Whitney engine. It's a high bypass ratio, low speed geared turbofan. This means that you have in between the fan here and the compressor behind, you have a gearbox. This means that both components can rotate at the very optimum speed, and this in the end reduces fuel consumption by around 20%. And as well, you have a noise reduction of around 50%. So this one is really the major difference to the E1 and the big plus of the second generation Embraer 190. So I check the cowling, that there are no damages on the fan, that everything is free. I cannot see any dents, so all good. I check all the latches, the panels, as well as thrust reverser. That's all good.
Also data voice recorder we have to check. Cockpit lights, just check everything is fine. All the lights come on. Perfect. Emergency lights, we'll check if it's on in the cabin. Perfect. And then we'll arm it. Nav light comes on. Hydraulic is checked. And the electronic CVs, this is normal. HF1 we don't need on this aircraft anymore. And cockpit door control and the cockpit door control panel to be checked later on. Photoluminescence strips is checked. So power up is completed.
Now let's have a look on the wing. I checked the leading edge if there are any, for example, remaining of bird strikes, like some feathers or blood. But it looks like everything is fine here. I have the navigation light up there, which is already powered, so that's fine. And I check if I have all the static dischargers at the wingtip. Should be 7, we have 7, that's good. So we go back to the gear. So we have the right main landing gear, which is as well a big difference to the E1. You can see it's a bit more complex gear. It absorbs more energy than from the previous model, and it has in general a lot of improvements compared to the older model. What I do here right now is as well, I check for any leakages of oil, I check the struts, I check the doors if they're closed properly, and I check the brake wear indications. These are these pins over here, and I have to check that these pins are at least flush or more than flush with this assembly. So you can see at least we have 4 or 5 centimeters spare, so we have still a lot of brakes left for today. That should be sufficient for our flight, I hope. So that looks good as well. The tires are good, struts as well, so that's fine. That's the part of the gear, so we go now to the tail of the aircraft.
So now guys, I'll have to prepare the cockpit just for the flight. So we have a so-called flow for that. I'll do my flow, and afterwards Sandra will do her flow when she's coming back from the outside check. I start here with the oxygen masks. I check that's on 100%. That means we'll get 100% oxygen when we have to take it on. I'll test that. Then I continue with the lights, they're fine. I continue here on the glass shield. Just check everything is as it needs to be, and I will set what I already can set. Then I check here the knobs. Here I check the display, it looks alright. I check what's selected for the weather radar, and I'll choose here the extended version for the TCAS. For the maps I would like to see the boundaries as well, and traffic. As I'm flying I will select the weather. That's fine.
Again, it's always the same. Panels are closed, latches are in place. Of course, cargo door is open. They still need to load a few bags. We have around 100 passengers today, so probably they will split the bags half-half, so half in the front, half in the back, to make sure that the center of gravity is within the limits. Aft service door, fine as well. And again, the same here with elevator and rudder. I check again if the control surfaces are fine, if there are no damages from any strikes, like bird strikes. And I check again if I have all the static discharges at the end. 5 on top and 4 on the sides. That is fine. And now we do the same on the left-hand side. We go back, do the loop around the main gear, go around the wing, check again the engine. So basically it's just the opposite direction what I did before. So I can make sure that I checked everything, I didn't forget anything, and then I will report this to the commander so everyone knows what's going on. And she will tell me if she saw anything during power up, and then we know the aircraft is fine, then we can go ahead with the preparation of the flight.
I'll check the trim system.
Trim.
These are the backup switches, and this one is the primary
Trim.
switch we use.
Trim.
I have to check both of them.
Trim.
And then the last one I do is to set up the computer, which is very important since this will steer the autopilot in the end. So correct routing has to be inserted.
Left main landing gear, again the brake wear indications looks like pretty new brakes at the moment. So very good actually. I don't see any leakages. There's probably some humidity or some oil from previous aircraft. There is no fresh spill on the ground, so that is fine. As well, inside the doors looks good, and you can see it's really a brand new aircraft. There is no oil on the top. Everything is clean and nice, and that's when you notice that you're in a really new aircraft compared to an aircraft which is 25-year-old. So again, position light and navigation light are working. We have all the static dischargers. I don't have any damage on the leading edge, so that's good. And then we go to the left-hand engine. No damages here as well. The fan blades look good. That's fine. So all good. The last thing we do right now is we go in the front and check all the lights. Sometimes the maintenance does it during a night shift. However, this aircraft needs only to be checked every 3rd day. This means we have to check the lights ourselves. So I'm gonna knock on the fuselage, and Tamara will switch on all the lights, and I will check if they are all working properly. Perfect. So we can see the taxi lights are working, landing lights as well, both. The beacon on the lower side is fine. And now I have to switch to both winglet sides to check if the other lights are working as well. So I can see the strobe lights on the left-hand wing is working. So that looks fine. And I go to the other side, so a little bit of walking, a little bit of fresh air. And this is usually the most part of walking we do during a working day. So I measured it once, I do around 3,000 steps per day when I'm flying. So everyone is laughing like, you're sitting all the time, that's true. So the only walking we do is from the parking to the operation center and around the aircraft, that's it. So left side as well looks good. So that's about it. I give her a sign that she can switch off all the lights and then we are done. Ist gut.
Well, what I'm doing right now is programming the route. Normally we can just download it, so it's easy, but sometimes it didn't work. Of course, today it doesn't work, so I have to program it by myself. And even more important that you have a close look to the route afterwards.
So what I do right now is I do my flow. It's a so-called flow, so I do it by heart. It's basically a sequence of manipulations and settings which every one of us does before we do any checklists. So I prepare the multifunction display with the settings I need, and afterwards I will check the FMS entries such as our routing, our weights, etc.
Good morning, guys, also from my side. What a fantastic start into the day already here with our crew of Tamara, Sandra and the cabin team. I just don't want to miss my chance to say good morning to you as well. I'm Patrick from Air-Clips and I'm very, very thankful to our hosts of Helvetic today for having us. I'm going to shut up now in order not to disturb anything here, and nothing left than wishing you a fantastic flight with Helvetic Airways today on the mighty E2. Enjoy.
And I didn't told you, we got a slot. Let me check. CTOT 0654. So on time.
Okay, perfect. Departure, runway 32, Deges 3 November, apply, activate. Deges 3 November, 5,000 feet.
We can already verify, let me check.
3050.
Deges 3 November, 5,000 feet, runway 32, and squawk is verified.
Check.
Perfect. Yeah, well, when you're ready, let's do first, before start checklist, to the line.
Passenger signs panel.
Are set.
Pressurization panel.
Set.
Oxygen masks.
Checked 100%.
Checked 100%. Flight instruments.
Are set and cross-checked.
Thrust levers.
Idle.
Before start, checklist to the line completed. I start the APU.
Darf ich schließen?
Tell me.
108 habe ich.
108 is correct. You can close the door.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cabin crew, arm the lights. Dear ladies and gentlemen, from the cockpit, your captain speaking. My name is Tamara Sandra, and together with co-pilot Sandra Meister, I warmly welcome you on board of this Embraer E2. We just need around 5 to 10 minutes to get ready, but I still expect an on-time arrival in Kos due to the good tailwind today, and our routing will be via the Austrian Alps, Ljubljana, Sarajevo, Skopje towards Kos, and I wish you already a very pleasant flight.
Sandra. All slides armed and cross-checked. Communicate. Ciao. All slides armed and cross-checked.
All slides armed and cross-checked. Thanks.
Flight deck for ground.
Here's flight deck.
Hello, when you stop the aircraft?
Parking brake is set. You can lift it up. Before start checklist to the line.
We have passenger signs panel,
Set.
pressurization panel,
Set.
oxygen masks,
Checked 100%.
checked 100%, flight instruments,
Set. And cross-checked.
thrust levers,
Idle.
completed.
Well, calculation was already done. Let's check. We calculate again with 51.3 and CG 26.7 is fine.
Checked. Ready?
And I got takeoff 3, 15 on off, flex 3-4, flaps 1, 2.8 up,
Same,
144, 144, 148, 195.
same,
And I got takeoff 3, flex 3-4,
checked,
flaps 1,
checked,
speeds inverted,
checked,
departure limb V2 plus 10,
checked,
NADP 1 and acceleration altitude is checked.
yes,
And just to cross-check the fuel on board in Kos, 3.7 tons, plenty, and the cross weight is checked as well.
perfect.
All right, ready for a briefing?
Ready?
2P, Terra, yeah, we have the Alps, but Zurich is our home base, it's well known for us.
Checked.
And then taxi route, operationally taxi route is crossing runway 28 hotspots, but it's inactive runway right now. And pilot-wise, first time flying together, but we already discussed. Just call out if you
Absolutely.
see something. And also the cameras, just try to, or I try to as well, just ignore them.
Exactly, work
Do you
normally.
have anything, amendments for
That's
the 2P?
it? No?
Then expect the pushback here, taxi all the way down there to the right, and then crossing runway 28 at kilo expected. For runway 32, and there is a Degas 3 November departure on chart 10-3 Echo 2.
Same,
Routing is verified in the FMS.
verified as well.
And the initial climb clearance 5,000 is set. And the only point which may be hard step to get is the 3,500 due to the acceleration. Well, any amendments?
No questions.
Briefing completed.
No questions.
And takeoff briefing. Any malfunction before we run, you call it out or point it out. I decide whether to stop or continue. My call it is recheck. That means auto throttle idle, initially max reverse. And when we have come to complete stop, I set the parking brake. Call out this cabin crew at stations. You perform by hard items.
I monitor aircraft deceleration, check reverse out, cancel oral warnings, call out 60 knots, inform ATC event stopped flaps 5.
Together we analyze the situation, perform either QAC or QRH. And in case of emergency evacuation is required, we perform QRH last page. Emergency evacuation, I open the cockpit door and call out this emergency open seatbelt evacuate. In case of evacuation is not required, we taxi off the runway, do the after landing sequence, inform as well the ATC, and call out is cabin crew and passengers. Keep your seats.
Checked.
After V1, we continue in case of engine failure. It's straight ahead 4 miles Kloten. And then a right turn track 030 to intercept 290, which is 110 inbound Zurich East. And at engine failure recheck thrust, 400 feet ground, we cancel master caution, select the heading, check the bank, and acceleration at 2,400, and we climb to 5,000. We are above max landing mass, but able for return, weather is good.
Checked. Straight ahead 4 miles Kloten, then a right turn track 030. Intercept and follow radial 290 inbound Zurich East, climbing towards 5,000 feet. We are above max landing mass, weather-wise able to return.
Briefing completed. Ground from cockpit.
Yes, I confirm we are fully ready.
Perfect, thank you, I will ask.
Delivery, guten Morgen. Helvetic 71 uniform ready.
Helvetic 71 uniform, thank you. Stand by on apron 121.755. Ready.
121.755, Helvetic 71 uniform AD.
Did you put in the doors closing time?
I will do it during the climb. Excuse me.
Helvetic 71 uniform, apron hello, pushback, start approved.
Guten Morgen, Pushback start approved, Helvetic 71 uniform.
Startup approved. Before start checklist, below the line.
Fuel quantity.
On board 7,980.
Requested minimum block is 5,800.
Checked.
Checked. MCDU.
Is set.
Trim panel.
2.8 up set 00.
Doors and windows.
Closed.
Closed. External light beacon switch.
On.
Parking brake lever.
Is set.
Completed.
Ground from cockpit.
Go ahead.
We're clear for pushback and engine start. May I release the brake?
Yes, you may.
Park brake is released. Confirm green light.
I confirm the green light.
And you call me when we can start engine 1.
Roger. Commencing push and stand by for engine start.
Checked.
Ground, you're cleared for engine start.
We'll start engine 1 first.
Clear to start engine 1.
I'll send you the flight plan back.
Yeah.
And starting engine 1.
Checked.
Now just turn it to run. I wait until I have all the figures and then I can start the engine. This will take some time. Now you see N2 is just turning up and it will stabilize between around 8 and 11% of N2. This is just to warm up the engine so everything is same temperature. Now everything is warmed up, so we'll increase the N2 value. The ignition is turned on. Parking brake is set. Normal start.
Checked.
Engine 1 is running normally. We start engine 2. Starting engine 2.
Checked. Ich nehme sie schnell.
Gern.
Sandra. Cabin and galley secured. Danke, Marike. Ciao. Cabin and galley secured.
Cabin and galley secured. They're fast.
True.
To start one engine takes around 1.5 minutes. But now the second one looks good, it's spooling up. Engine 2 stabilized.
Checked.
And we had 2 good engine starts. You can disconnect everything. See on the right hand side for the clear signal. Bye bye, have a nice day. Flaps 1. Flight controls check.
All
Clear signal
received.
APU off. After start checklist.
After start checklist, ground equipment
Removed.
latch flap,
1 set.
flight controls
Checked.
After start checklist completed. Helvetic 71 uniform, request taxi.
Helvetic 71 uniform, taxi via Echo and then link 1, Foxtrot inner kilo, hold short runway 28.
Via Echo, link 1, Foxtrot inner kilo, hold short runway 28, Helvetic 71 uniform. Right side clear.
Left side's clear. Initially straight ahead.
Checked.
It's too early for the
Yeah.
Zuschauerterrasse, how you say?
True.
Too early to wave.
Visitors terrace, I guess. or
Visitors
something.
terrace, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice in Zurich.
Saturday, 9 o'clock. Time
No
for
one's
breakfast.
yeah, no one's waving.
Come on, Air-Clips viewers, you could have done better. It was your job.
Maybe on our way back, we'll see. So you can see the fog has disappeared, beautiful weather, so no issue this morning with the weather here in Zurich. Even if we would have to return.
What a nice company lineup.
Beautiful, yeah. So we have the front row here, usually in front of the runway 28, which is usually the departure runway. But in the mornings, on the weekends, we start or we take off at runway 32, which is just over there, left-hand side. So it's second left, the next one, intersection kilo.
That's checked.
Helvetic 71 uniform, target Tirana, runway 32.
Guten Morgen, line up runway 32, Helvetic 71 uniform.
Line up
Helvetic
approved.
71 uniform, report when ready.
Welcome.
Before takeoff checklist.
Cabin crew, prepare for departure.
Takeoff, okay.
Brake temperature.
Checked.
ICOS.
Checked.
Transponder.
TARA.
Takeoff configuration.
Checked.
Before takeoff checklist completed.
Ready.
Helvetic 71 uniform ready.
Helvetic 71 uniform in calm, runway 32, cleared for takeoff. You need to be rolling in 30 seconds latest.
Cleared for takeoff runway 32 will do. Helvetic 71 uniform.
Cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff.
On runway
Takeoff.
32.
Check thrust.
Thrust checked. Thrust is checked.
Checked.
knots.
Checked.
V1 rotates. Positive rates.
Gear up.
Departure, Metzlich Falls, Helvetic 71 uniform. departure, guten Morgen, Helvetic 71 uniform, 2400 feet, climbing 5000 feet.
Helvetic 71 uniform, city departure, green sea identified, climb to flight level 90.
Climb level 90, Helvetic 71 uniform, 9000 feet, set.
Checked, engage autopilot.
Helvetic 71 uniform, climb to flight level 120, when passing 5000 feet, proceed direct Xebix.
Climb level 120 when passing 5000 feet, direct Xebix, Helvetic 71 uniform.
Flight level 120 set.
Checked.
Insert direct Xebix.
Direct Xebix inserted.
Confirmed.
Activated.
And climb sequence.
Flap 0.
Cabin crew released.
Very good.
Very good.
Finally we're up in the air, then everything is always good. Okay.
Initially it's planned for flight level 350, then later on flight level 410.
Checked.
Right now ceiling is 390.
Okay.
So we'll check when they let us up to 410 if we're able or not.
Okay. Otherwise, if not, I state flight level 390 initially.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's smooth, 390 is fine.
Perfect. So we reached flight level 100, which means approximately 3000 meters above sea level, a little bit more. And from then on, we are basically allowed to speak freely and to check the EFB.
uniform, climb level 240.
Climb level 240, Helvetic 71 uniform.
Flight level 240 set.
Checked. And below this flight level 100, we have the silent cockpit. This means we reduce our communication to the standard voice phrases which we use all the time, but we discuss nothing privately, or we don't discuss the weekend during the takeoff. But from now on, we can speak freely, but still, of course, have a look on the instrument. So, but my duty right now as a pilot monitoring, which means I am the monitoring pilot. I monitor the instruments. I feed the EFB with all the data, and she's the pilot flying on this leg. So what I do right now is I insert times such as off block, so the time we left the parking stand, so 6:50, and then we check if we are on time or how it looks right now. You can see that we are just at the Lake of Constance on our left hand side, which we probably cannot see right now.
No, yeah, maybe a little bit. You see a coast just a little bit through the clouds.
So we will pass the Lake of Constance and head towards the eastern part across the Alps, and probably will overfly Tyrol and Kärnten towards Slovenia. And we'll see, maybe we can see a little bit of the Alps later on when we are clear of clouds. Let's hope.
Hopefully.
Hopefully on the return flight at least. Fasten belt off. Okay for you?
Yes.
And on the E2 you have to pay special attention to the approaching of the flight level. We're just about to pass flight level 220, so I have to reduce the vertical speed to 1,500 feet per minute, just to make sure we don't trigger any TCAS to another aircraft.
Oh, okay.
Right now I don't see any, but it's just the procedure we have. because if you approach another aircraft too fast, even though you level off below, but if your rate is too high, you will trigger a TCAS.
Okay. Today I really understand what you need sunglasses for on the flight. I'm blind.
It's crazy today, for me as well. I think it's...
Yeah, we're on the perfect heading to get some tan.
Yeah, right.
I don't think you get tan while flying.
Not really. Yeah, it feels like autumn already when you read in the weather report that they expect fog in the morning. So you know, it's going down again.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, the prettiest thing in fall is the sunsets. While flying, you don't have any prettier sunsets as in fall. Fall is perfectly for sunsets.
Okay.
That's cool. It's a synthetic vision system. It shows like 20 degrees of our routing, and that's one of the fancy thing compared to E1. E1 doesn't have it.
Yeah.
I can show you how it looks like on the.
Oh really? You can swap the
E1.
You can swap the display mode.
Yeah, it's a SVS. I can turn it off. So it looks like this.
All right.
You just have the brown and the blue part. So that's how it looks on E1. But it's very nice.
Keep it.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, it helps you really much to get some situational awareness about the mountains and valleys, and especially if you depart or land in mountainous areas. You have a good idea about the surroundings, even if it's cloudy, so it helps you.
I feel intimidating. I'm sitting so much in front on the jump.
It's just fine. I've just hit you with my elbow sometimes.
No,
sorry if you have blue marks on your knees afterwards.
I'm so sorry for that. It's a unique design, really. It's super much up front.
Yeah, you're our
coffee.
third pilot right here. You can handle everything from your position almost.
Not that I want
except the landing, maybe. The flare.
Yeah, I was when I was editing an MD-11 film yesterday, I was sending a screenshot of the flight deck after I was fitting the cameras to that crew of the MD-11. And the answer they gave me was, "Oh, nice, you're filming a bicycle tomorrow."
Yeah, it was.
That's what my boyfriend told me as well. He said it looks like not a bicycle but a mofa. You say in English mofa?
Yeah, I don't know, but I wouldn't know. I mean, like a small motorcycle thing.
Very small motorcycle, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like an old lady's bike handle.
Yeah.
But the idea behind it is that it's ergonomic. Like you have basically a straight line to the hand, so it is more ergonomic. But it was for us a little bit. It took some time to adapt to it because before we both flew the Fokker 100, which has a completely different shape of the control wheel. So we had to get used to it.
For sure.
But now it's okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
My answer to the MD-11 guys was sending them a picture of the Concorde cockpit, which has the same yoke. So.
Nice.
That's a good answer.
Very good. So we are basically ahead of Innsbruck, so the Inn Valley is below us, and around Innsbruck we'll turn slightly to the right, and then towards Ljubljana in Slovenia. And maybe we can also see the sea on our right hand side, but because most of our route will be across land, across Balkan Peninsula, so maybe we still can see a little bit of the coast, which would be nice. Weather should be fine.
So you just had a bit of coast in your vacation, I hope?
No, actually not at all. We stayed in northern Italy. We thought about going to the coast, but it was so beautiful weather-wise and temperature-wise, so we were in the area of Lake Garda and Bergamo and within the Alps, so perfect time. All good, all good.
Very nice.
Yeah. We chose the right week, a lot of pizza, a lot of gelati. So it was a good week, yeah.
Little infusion
Definitely.
of Italy.
And finally some
Exactly.
summer.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
at least 1 week.
At least, yeah.
At least. Well, I think the next one doesn't look bad at all.
I haven't checked yet.
The next week?
Yeah?
Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure. I just checked the weekend.
Okay.
The weekend looks good. All right, I will do an awareness briefing.
Ready?
Actually, for you guys, we do an awareness briefing. You may have heard it during the departure briefing as well, and we do it in flight after we reach a cruise, and every hour we do it, and of course before landing again. The awareness briefing we do with the 2P. That just helps us to remember everything. The T stands for terrain, the W stands for weather, O stands for operational, and the P for the pilots. So right now we have reached our cruising level 350 for the moment, and the terrain, of course, you see it here as well, and here as well. We're over the Alps is an issue. Right now, fastest way away from the terrain would be to the left, and I would say, yeah, after Getzo we'll turn to the right.
Checked.
And then we have engine outrange, maximum altitude we can hold with one engine would be flight level 210, which we have to descend, and in case of emergency descent, Grid Mora in this area is the highest is 145, so we can have a flight level 150 initially.
That's checked.
And weather-wise, it looks nice. No turbulence right now. Operationally wise, everything is working fine for me, and pilot wise, everything good
All
for
good,
you?
all fine.
Do you have any amendments?
Not yet. I think Venice would be fine. Maybe we check the weather for Munich quickly, if it would be an option in case of a diversion, if we have a problem. Otherwise, all good.
Yeah, I'll get the weather from the route anyway.
Checked.
So 2P completed.
No questions. So the nice thing with the Embraer for us is the big transition in terms of the technology. Before on the Fokker 100 we had to listen to every METAR of all the airports around to get an idea of the weather and to figure out the suitable alternates. And here we can just insert the airports via A-cars and send the weather request, and we'll get the weather on paper.
Wow, yeah.
And it's in a thing of 30 seconds, and it's
great.
so much more handy than before.
Yeah.
A lot of more time to drink coffee in between. Yeah, we were quite busy during the cruise as well in the Fokker, or more busy than in the Embraer, which is as well due to the technology.
Do you like one of the types better than the other in terms of just pure flying behavior or anything? Okay, it's the Fokker.
Yeah, well, it's just what we learned the first time. It's what the heart beat for. It's what you're used to. What the initial connection in your brain is made for the Fokker 100. So, yeah, Fokker 100.
She's
but
a classic as well. Yeah?
I have to say, Embraer is really nice to fly.
Okay.
It's really nice.
Yeah, definitely. In the beginning it was kind of a transition, but right now you forget everything about the Fokker. You remember some good stuff, but you forget as well the bad stuff in the Fokker, kind of.
Yeah.
So some things like the air conditioning was really bad in the Fokker, so in summer it was just hot all day, or especially on the ground during turnarounds. You were sweating inside the cockpit and everything.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's not an issue here anymore. That works perfectly, so we cannot complain there. Yeah.
So the weather, Kos already very nice weather. The wind 350 with 11 knots and already 24 degrees.
How much?
24 degrees
Oh,
centigrade.
nice. Okay. Perfect.
Venice is fine. Munich is okay. Just a little bit of towering cumulus. and Zagreb I printed as well. This is fine as well. Perfect.
May I ask, Tamara, how did you get into flying? Why are you flying?
Well, it's kind of dream since I was little, maybe, I don't know, maybe since 7 or 8 years old. It's a dream to become a pilot, and I'm so happy that everything worked out. I had some issue with the glasses for a short moment, but everything was fine in the end, thank God, and yeah, dream come true.
And do you come from an aviation family or anything, or?
How shall I say? Not really. But my dad was really interested in aviation all the time. But he made his private pilot license when I was, I think, 16 or 17, so just before me. And yeah, we were a lot on the airport, on the small airport with him. And yeah, when I was a little child, when we flew to the vacation, I went to the cockpit all the time with him. Well, that was the time you were able or still in flight to visit the cockpit.
Yeah.
And then when I grew older, I visited by myself without my dad. But yeah, he had a big influence, I think, for sure.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then you started. How did you get then into aviation? I mean, how did you start your career?
I actually started with this fair course. It's like two weeks of flying just very small planes, and it's actually a program from the military. It's a selection procedure. It's the first step of the military pilots selection procedure. And after that, you don't have a license yet, but you just get a judgment about your flying skill, your progress, but also your personality.
Okay.
And after that, I started my studies in aviation. I did the bachelor in aviation, and during the studies I finished the PPL, the private pilot license, when I was, let me think, around 23, 24, something like that.
So it's like 3 years ago, roughly.
No. But thank you. It's been 10 years ago.
Wow.
And after my studies, I started at Horizon Flying School.
Okay. Which is connected to Helvetic, right? I believe?
Yep, exactly. It's a daughter from Helvetic.
Okay.
And yeah, I did frozen ATPL at Horizon, and thereafter I was lucky and could start at Helvetic right away on the Fokker 100. Yeah, cool. And that's been 6.5 years ago.
So of course that's your first type, and then it's got to be your big love then for sure.
It is for sure.
Eternally.
Yeah. And then let me think. 2.5 years ago, I changed to Embraer, the E1, the 190, and then 1.5 years ago, I had the chance to become a captain. So just right before Corona, I finished the upgrading. So I was really lucky. Not much experience though, but
I feel safe.
Still lucky. And then, yeah, actually 2 months ago, I finished the change to E2.
Wow, fresh.
Yeah. But it's cool. It's quite similar to the E1. Just some small details which are different to handle, but it's fine. It's
fancy
good
stuff. I mean, the main thing are the
engines.
The engines, basically. And this, I think, like on the A220, you hear a lot of, a little bit a need for some certain engine replacements and stuff of a similar type. But I think here on the Embraer, they work pretty well, no?
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of any problems.
Yeah.
I think they work really, really good. Yeah.
Cool. And they
actually all the things I didn't have a lot. I mean, on Fokker we had quite often some small technical issues. It was an old lady, but that was fine to fly with. But here E2 is really good.
Yeah, good. I mean, it's normal for experienced aircraft as well that they have their glitches. But Sandra, did you say earlier that the engines here, they have a fuel saving of something like 20% or so?
Compared to the previous model, the Embraer 190 E1,
wow.
They calculated the fuel consumption reduction of 20%. Yeah,
but that's
massive.
Massive for the environment and for cost saving as well, right? It's good.
Yeah, it's really the perfect aircraft for these times at the moment. COVID-wise, of course, due to the reduced traveling of people, as well as the climate discussion. So, yeah, our company made the right decision in terms of choosing this aircraft. Pretty big difference, as well as noise-wise, which is always helpful if you fly to airports which are located near cities.
Oh, yeah.
And Zurich especially had a lot of issues in earlier times with the villages around.
I mean, I don't know, assuming that the fuel capacity would probably be similar to the E1, is there also an impact on the range of the aircraft?
Yeah.
Yeah? So that's like, you can also use the fuel saving like on serving further destinations theoretically?
E2 has a range of 5,300 kilometers.
Yeah, but now with the E2 we can really plan well, for example, Canarian Islands.
Oh yeah.
Or I heard at least that Dubai in favorable condition would be an option.
Wow.
So it's really a massive improvement in terms of the range as well. So yeah, a lot of pluses there actually.
Yeah. And it still has a bit of this new car smell actually, guys. You can't smell that right now, but it's really nice. It's really, or in the cabin obviously. I mean, you saw that before boarding in the beginning. It's super mint leather seats, really, really nice.
It's even if we switch back to the previous model, which is not really old, the E1, but still a few years older than this one. If you go back, you feel like, oh my god, this aircraft is so old, because you're so much used to this right now with the big screens and everything's new and shiny. And you feel it. It's a different atmosphere there.
It's special to have a brand new aircraft.
Yeah. I'm just wondering when they create an E3 where the jump seat is going to move. I'm probably sitting on the thrust levers then.
Probably, we'll see. Yeah, it's you're in the middle of everything here.
Oh yeah.
You're not excluded.
I am. Yeah.
So weather looks pretty en route. So we left all the clouds more or less behind us. Only a little bit
of haze.
Haze down there, but no thunderstorms.
Yeah,
nothing to worry about, and we can even see the coast right now over there.
Oh yeah.
So
it's just the northern point of Adriatic Sea.
Yeah, basically over there is Pula.
Oh yeah.
And
Croatia,
right now we are still over Slovenia, but down there Croatia will start. Or basically, Pula is Croatia, and over there.
In the region of Ljubljana. Ljubljana is just on the right-hand side. But I don't think you'll see it. No, probably not.
It's too... it's behind the haze, probably.
It's a haze, it's pretty hazy. Yeah, it's true.
And Sandra, may I ask you as well? How did you get? You didn't get the other job, and then you had to go into flying, or how did that work?
Yeah, it's a longer story. In my case, it was not really a childhood dream, although I loved to visit the cockpit when I was a child. So the few times we went to the Canarian Islands, I always had to look in the front. I loved it, but I never thought like this is my job for the future. And then, I went to school, didn't really have an idea, just went through it somehow, and then I turned 17 and somehow I found out about glider flying.
Yeah.
So I started flying gliders, and from this moment on I got the virus.
You were hooked up.
Exactly, I was hooked up totally, and really spent every weekend on the airfield, and it was a great time. Like, it was basically my teenage years there, and the next 5 to 10 years at least. I think from 17 to 28 I was really a busy glider pilot, and I thought it was the perfect option to have a normal proper job and to fly in my free time. And as well, my dad told me, a commercial pilot is not really the career you should look for. It's good as you do it right now, etc. But then I went to university and studied geography as well as meteorology, but I always felt wrong there, and I always looked up and was like, how is it up there? I really want to go flying and do it as a profession. So this never really let me, or this really was stuck in my head all the time. So even after my studies, I started working as a meteorologist. So I was a weather forecaster on the radio, and I talked to a lot of helicopter pilots. I gave them advice about, for example, a photo mission which I had planned for the day, or as well we had expeditions in the Himalaya, so I had to give them advice about summit pushes, etc. So actually very interesting, but I really felt like I'm on the wrong place here in the office in front of my computer. I should be up there as well and do some flying. And I always told myself, I want to start with the ATPL before I turn 30 years old, because somehow this was my mindset. If I turn 30 or even older, that's too late. So I went towards 29 and I was like, okay, now time is running, and I just felt like I will miss something if I don't try it. So I tried to get the money for the flight school and started as well with Horizon Swiss Flight Academy to do my ATPL, and went through it all the way to the ATPL Frozen. I think I was finished with 32, and then immediately got a job, happily, with Helvetic Airways. So right now, I think 4.5 years ago I started flying for Helvetic Airways, and first as well on the Fokker 100 for 2 years, where we both were co-pilots actually. So this is actually a very special flight for both of us, because we know each other for a few years right now. We talk a lot in our free time, and now it's really the first time where we fly together. Because before we were both co-pilots, and now she's captain,
and that's why.
And I'm on the right seat. So very nice actually.
I said if that's the only chance to fly together, we'll do it.
You go for it. Cool, lucky us.
It's really cool. So basically that's how it went, and I'm really happy. I never looked back, and I never thought like I should go back to the office, because this office is the best you can have. And I thought a lot about it during the COVID times, if I have to go back to a proper job, but there is really nothing which I would put in front of flying. So even I have seen a lot of different jobs actually besides meteorologist, and there's nothing else for me at the moment, so that's good. That's perfect.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So what have you done during all the Corona stuff while not flying?
Well, I did.
Watching Air-Clips is always a great idea.
I did. Well, I have to say, of course, YouTube was a good source of inspiration always. I, of course, love to see how other pilots work. I love to see crosswind landings. The first 2 months I was just at home, a little bit shocked, and didn't do anything during the initial lockdown. And then in the summer I felt like, okay, I need to do something. I cannot sit around all the time. So I called a friend who is a farmer, and I went to his farm and drove around some big machines and helped him there.
Funny.
So that was a funny summer actually. And as well in the meantime, from here to there, some helping. Like if neighbors have some stuff which they need help, or a local food store in our little town needed some help. So I tried to help, or give a helping hand. And but I have to say, I really look forward to just fly more and get the routine back, because this is really my favorite. Although I really like the tractors on the farm. But yeah, this is just the best machine. What did you do actually?
Yeah, actually quite similar. I started in spring 2020, helping out at the drugstore. So I just delivered medicine to anyone who ordered it. So if all the people didn't want to go to shop anymore in the store, so they could order it home, and I delivered them. And then in the summer I started as well at the farm.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Picking berries and apples, and help with cutting trees and all kind of stuff.
Oh, nice.
And well, get some new hobbies. I, for example, built a bench last summer, which took me quite a long time since I'm not used to like work with wood, but it was fun, something new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's actually it's a nice option to really try new stuff. But I think in the end everyone looks.
Yeah, we had enough of it, no?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
so.
really.
It's nothing compared to flying.
It
For
was
sure.
fun. It was fun for a summer.
Yep.
It was a perfect summer last year, I have to say. I spent a lot of time on some boats, on some lakes as well, and it was really perfect. But
And in the mountains.
now it's really like the winter was hard, and again this summer it's just it's about time.
Yeah. Yeah. Back to normal.
Back to
Exactly.
normal would be awesome.
Guys, very proud and thankful to introduce to you Marike. Hi Marike.
Hi Patrick,
Thanks for sharing a bit of your busy time here with us.
you're welcome.
Your position has different titles in different companies. You're the purser, or how would it be called in Helvetic?
In Helvetic it's called the senior cabin attendant.
Senior cabin attendant.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
And I think you've already finished multiple services here on board, so I understand there's quite a bit of service despite a relatively short flight time.
Yeah, we just finished, we first started with the breakfast service. Afterwards we had a second round of coffee, which my colleagues are doing now.
And that's has to be purchased by the passengers, or is that?
No, only the alcoholic beverages are charged.
So it's all for free, breakfast.
Coffee, tea, breakfast is all for free. Yes.
Nice, okay. Not bad. We'll have a look at that in a moment, because I was busy up front. And I understand you are busy as well, but I just don't want to miss my chance to ask a few questions really about the passion of flying. How did you get into this job? Is this just something for you that you have to do for the money check at the end of the month, or how did you get into this?
To be very, very honest, it's purely passion.
Purely.
I started my flying career 28 years ago. It was
Wow.
my childhood dream back then.
Wow.
My father forced me to do a proper education first, but as soon as I had the chance I started flying.
Nice.
And the last 11 years I had a break because I'm not originally from Switzerland. I moved to Switzerland with my family because
Okay.
my husband got a job there. And that was my break, and I couldn't wait to get back to flying, and I was thrilled when Helvetic gave me the chance to
Cool.
start all over again, and here I am.
Cool. And did you start on the Embraer, or did
Yes,
you
yes.
start on the Fokker?
No, I
No.
only flew Embraer.
Okay. But I guess in your previous life you probably flew different aircraft types, right?
A couple of different types, yes. Yes.
Can you share with us which types?
I started with the 747 DC-10 767.
Wow, 747 DC-1076.
Yes, and then the DC-10 got exchanged by the MD-11.
Wow, passenger.
And then the 757 came, the A320 came. Oh, and
Nice.
originally there was also A310. which was replaced later by the A320.
And you flew them all these
flew
types?
them all.
Wow. And can we say which airline that was?
It's Martinair.
Wow, big traditional.
It used to be a very, very good airline. Unfortunately, it's not there anymore.
Yeah, I think it's only the brand still exists for cargo flights.
There's a cargo, the cargo, one cargo plane is still flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we stopped passenger service in 2011.
Okay.
And that was 2 years after I left the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're still heartbroken about that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Wow, but this is what a range of classic aircraft types, guys. This is amazing. So, in this wide range of aircraft types, do you have a favorite?
Absolutely.
Tell me.
Of course, nowadays it's the E2.
Well,
but it used to be the queen of the skies.
Oh yeah?
The 747, yes.
I fully understand
that.
That
was magnificent.
Yeah.
From flying, from working on it. The only problem we used to have is that when we came at our destination, that all of a sudden you realized, oh yeah, that's right, you were on this flight as well. Because you didn't see each other during the whole flight. Yeah. Which made it also very funny. Now I loved working on the 747.
Nice. That was so nice. And of course, no bashing of the beautiful brand new E2 here.
It's incredible,
but, of course, in the light of such classic white bodies, what could it do?
Yeah.
Now, how does it work? Do you occasionally have layovers, or is it more back to back?
It's more. We're a regional airline, of course, so it's more within Europe. Occasionally, we do have a night stop here and there, which of course we enjoy very much.
Yeah.
But most of the times it's just out and into Zurich,
which is probably
because
also
that's our
nice,
base. For me now, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have my family at home. They need me as well. So for me, that's perfect.
So you had your time on the long haul for sure.
Yes, yes. And when you start a family, that's rather not what you want to do full time.
Yeah. And in the network that you're flying on Helvetic, do you have a particular favorite destination?
Well, to be honest, all Helvetic flights I like very much because they're holiday flights. So the people are in a different mood than on business flights.
Yeah.
But I'm not. No, I don't. I like them all. Actually, I like them all.
I see. Okay. Well, and if you imagine there's maybe a couple of youngsters watching us over there who may think about what to do with their lives, and of course it has. You were mentioning family, so it can have downsides. But with the experience of so much flying and so many different aspects of that, what would you recommend young, interested people? What should they do? Should they go for it or better let it be?
Well, anybody who would be interested to go flying, I can only say do it, go for it. It's the best experience of your life. You don't have to do it so long as I did, but you learn a lot. You learn how to deal with different kind of people, work on different hours of a day. And I mean, the job itself has so much to offer you, especially when you're young and you're not sure where your career will go. Go flying for at least a year.
Widen your world.
Absolutely.
Super
Widen
cool.
your horizon, especially.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, thank you very much. I understand you have little time and you are busy probably with the next service. Thanks a lot for taking a few moments.
Thank you very much,
for us.
Patrick.
So dear Air-Clip fans, I give you a short introduction on our aircraft systems, or how the layout of this aircraft looks like. So what we have here is the overhead panel, which contains basically an electric part where we, for example, can switch on the power from the GPU, which you use, for example, on the ground to get the aircraft powered. As well, we have the cockpit lights, passenger signs, which we can change. So we have the fuel panel as well. And you can see the big two red handles, which we hopefully never ever use. These ones would extinguish the fires in the engine. So in case of an engine fire, we would pull them and rotate in order to extinguish the fire. The same is the case, for example, for the cargo holds, where we have buttons to push. We have the APU control panel, external lights, hydraulic panel, pressurization, air conditioning, ice protection. This panel is mainly used on the ground, but the switches or the information we need most is really ahead of our vision. So in front of us, this means we have the big displays and as well the flight guidance system, where we have example the autopilot, which we use right now, of course, otherwise I would have to fly manually. We can set minimums over there, the heading, etc. So we can choose in between our sources if we want to fly a heading or if we want to follow a programmed FMS route. Then we have the display units. In the second generation, in the E2, we have 4 display units, which are really big. We both have a primary flight display over there where we can see speed, altitude, our heading. We can see as well trends in terms of speed and thrust. And we have some information about the wind. At the moment we have some tailwind from the right behind 34 knots. And I have all the important flight information over there. So our flight ID, we are called Helvetic Embraer uniform. It's the aircraft Alpha Zulu Delta, transponder code, dates, and time since the takeoff. Then on the MFD, the multifunction display, I can really do everything, which will show you Tamara in a second. And here in this case I have presented on the left hand side the ICOS, which shows, for example, information about the engine, so I can see N1 rotation, N2 rotation, our ITT temperature and fuel flow. So at the moment the left engine burns 730 kilograms per hour and the right hand engine almost the same. Fuel quantity, we still have 5.5 tons left in our aircraft, and you can see center tank has 1.3 tons and the wing tanks approximately 2 tons. Then we have both MCDUs where we insert the route, where we insert new frequencies, and basically everything which has to be calculated is done via the MCDU. Then of course the thrust levers, where we will add power if we need more power to the engines or reduce the power. We have a speed brake, which helps us to reduce speed and altitude if we are too fast and too high. Sometimes this is necessary, sometimes not. We'll see if this is an issue today. Then we have here a red manual deploy lever. This one would be needed in case of a total loss of electricity. So whenever we don't have any electricity coming from the generators of the engines or the APU, I would have to pull this deploy lever, and in this case you would have a small little propeller which extends on the right hand side of the forward fuselage. And so the propeller will produce some energy or some electrics to at least supply the most important instruments in the cockpit. Then we have the comm panels where we can choose between the frequencies. For example, if I want to listen as well on COM2 to the emergency frequency 121.5. I have a sled flap lever, which we'll use of course for takeoff and the landing. So you can see we have all the way from 0 flaps or slats to flaps full. However, full is usually only used if you have a rather short runway or specific conditions which require its use. So I think that's about it, the most important things about the cockpit.
Maybe additionally I can show you the MFD, all the different systems. It's quite a cool feature of Embraer that you can have a look at the systems. For example, here the fuel systems. as shown. We have a wing tank on the left and on the right, and the center tank in the middle. The wing tank take 2,190 kilograms each, and if it falls below 2,100 kilograms, the center tank pumps will pump out of the center tank into the wing tanks with 2 AC pumps. Right now it's not pumping, but as soon as the left-hand wing tank will drop below 2,100, it will come on and will pump it out of the center tank to the wing tanks. In the wing tanks, we have normally used these ejector pumps, which are green right now. This kind of works with fuel motion, and we have also an AC pump here available if that one wouldn't work. Oh, now you see it's turned on. One of the AC pumps is turned on, and they will get fuel out of the center tank towards the wing tanks. So out of the wing tanks, we'll have a fuel line towards the engines, of course, but also towards the APU, the auxiliary power unit. Right now we are on the way 1 hour 11 minutes, and we use 2,530 kilograms, and in total we still have 5,460 on board. Then let's have a look. We also have a picture of the hydraulic system. We have 3 systems. System 1 and 2 are kind of the same. We have the engine-driven pump, normally in usage for all the hydraulics we need. Yeah, an aircraft needs a lot of hydraulic systems for all the elevator, aileron, rudders, for the spoilers, for the braking on ground, and also for the steering on ground. And then system 3, we have 2 electric pumps. And of course, there are always 2 pumps, so we have a redundant system. Most of the systems in an aircraft have a redundancy, just to make sure that if one is lost, we have another one. Now the electric page shows the 2 engines which produce electricity. They are fed to AC bus 1 and AC bus 2. Onto these AC buses, or onto all the buses, there are connected a lot of systems in the back. We also have an essential bus, which is right now fed by engine 2. And then we got the TRUs, which convert the AC into DC. And right now loading or keep the batteries loaded, but also we have the chance to have the battery feed the AC buses from the battery, of course. Well, then we have the ECS system, which is well, especially for the passenger comfort, very important. Right now temperature is set to 24 degrees around, in the aft it's 23. And we have 2 recirc fan, which keeps the air moving. And when the air goes through the recirc fan, they are also filtered very well. And otherwise, we get a bleed air from the engine into the cabin, so it's warmed up air, just to have as well new air in the cabin and not just recircled air. And last thing I can show you is the NTI system as well. Here, warm bleed air from the engine. If we have ice and condition, it will open this valve here, so we have it. The inlet of the engine is warmed, so we don't have ice on the inlet, and as well, this valve is opened just to warm up the leading edge of the wings. So no ice should build up on any important surface. But now, since I'm flying, I like to have full screen with the map, so I switch it back to the map. And what we already could do is first part of R&P approach checklist, so we just have to do the second part afterwards.
I come in a second.
Oh, no hurry. Just enjoy your coffee first.
I will.
As I know, to some people, coffee is really important.
It is not for me actually, but I enjoy it. And actually, at this moment, you can see a traffic which is exactly at the same speed as we are. It is, let me see, 2,000 feet lower than we are. You can see it here on the TCAS. So, if we remain on our heading and he remains on his heading, there is no risk of any collision as long as we are staying on our levels. So, it's just an indication, but there was no oral warning like traffic, or a resolution advisory. So that looks fine, but it's very nice to see as well our friends around us. Wave over there. Hello. And maybe our passengers in the back have as well something to see. Can you see him?
But
it's actually pretty rare to have another aircraft exactly on the same heading, visible, remaining for a few minutes besides you, so that's really cool.
But do you see the company?
I cannot read it from here, unfortunately.
You finished your coffee already?
I did.
Ah, okay. Yeah, then let's do the checklist first. What is done is done.
It is. So because we expect an R&P or on-off arrival in Kos, we have to add additional checklists to our working checklist, which is called R&P approach operation. On this checklist we check basically if we have a current database, if we have checked all the GPS NOTAM, predictive frame, etc. So we go through the first part prior to flight, which is really allowed to do during the flight, and then we'll do the rest later on. But then we have already done a part of it. So what we do right now is we use the window of opportunity, meaning that if we can do work beforehand, we do that in order to give us some more capacity if we get in a hurry during the approach. So R&P approach operation prior to flight. Airplane minimum configuration
is checked.
Nav database
Was verified.
Approach chart
To be checked, yeah.
to be checked. A-firm flight plan.
Was activated.
Performance in it.
Was set.
NOTAM nav aids.
No NOTAMs available, yeah.
I haven't seen as well any NOTAM nav aids which would harm our approach. GPS NOTAM
Not available, is good.
as well. GPS predictive frame.
Can we check right now already? It looks good.
Takeoff page.
Was set and confirmed.
PFD nav source.
Was selected to FMS.
So R&P approach operation prior to flight checklist is completed. The rest is to go.
Perfect.
I
Thanks.
leave it open like this.
Oh, sounds good. Dear ladies and gentlemen from the cockpit with the information about the flight. Right now we're overhead Skopje. Already 1.5 hours behind us and 1 hour to go. So landing expected in 1 hour on time in Kos. We are right now on a height of 11,900 meters and the ground speed is 910 kilometers per hour. I hope you have enjoyed the flight and the service so far. Enjoy the rest, and I wish you a very good stay in Kos. The weather right now is very nice, 25 degrees centigrade. Have a nice vacation.
We have two traffic at the moment. One is passing below us, 1,000 feet, one higher, so we're just in the middle in the sandwich. So really straight,
really cool.
opposite of us.
This is really cool.
And over there is a Lufthansa, I think.
No, Ryanair.
Ryanair, yeah. Yeah. So let's see if we catch some wake turbulence from this one. I hope
not.
Otherwise,
It was to the
guys will
side.
spill their coffee. But
No, looks good.
so far it looks good.
As you now can see, just underneath us is the coastline, so we are leaving the mainland towards the sea, and hopefully the weather's good enough to see all of these islands Greece has. I think I read there are over 3,000 islands which belong to Greece. That's crazy, isn't it?
That's
crazy,
yeah.
but I think just around or a little bit more than 100 are inhabited.
Yeah, and then know maybe the name of 10 of those islands. Maybe.
Yeah, me maybe 5. The ones we fly to.
Exactly.
So time for another 2P. Yeah, terrain no longer issue. Maybe just not terrain, but the underground will be water, most probably. And weather-wise is fine. Operationally wise, everything works fine. And pilots-wise, I'm still fit. You as well?
Me too. All good.
Sounds good. So 2P completed. If no questions.
No questions. So what you can see right now on the system status page is our current gross weight. So at the moment we are 48 tons, which means we are 1 ton below our maximum landing mass. So whenever we would have to descend or land immediately, we wouldn't have any issues regarding overweight landing. However, even if we would have to perform an overweight landing, this would be no problem in case of emergency. Of course, afterwards you would need to have some maintenance inspection. However, the landing itself is doable even if you are more than 49 tons.
We can order the weather via the FMS. For standard we have the arrival airport, so right now Kos as standard in here. And I would like to have the weather from the alternate as well. This is the alternate, and then I would like to have Athene as well. I can request it and it will print it right away. But the weather looks fine now, 14 knots more or less onto the nose, which is good for us. Rhodos as well fine, and Athene as well fine.
May I ask which airport is that to our front right there? That looks exciting.
Skiros it's called. I have to say I haven't seen it before because usually I fly to Creta if I fly to Greece, so on a more westerly route. But this one must be Skiros.
Skiros. Interesting airport.
Yeah, very nice. Looks like a aircraft carrier at the beginning.
Exactly.
Are you ready for a briefing?
One last question.
Yeah.
Where do we have to verify that we have the LVP inserted?
Oh, I already verified, but it's like this LPV approach, and the channel is 87865 E32 Alpha.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, I'm ready.
Good. 2P Terra, well, over the sea it's flat, of course, but we have some terrain during the approach on the right, which is up to 3,000 feet. And we also have altimeter drop during the approach due to the steep coastline, just to make sure that the altimeter will drop, the radio altimeter will drop. And weather-wise, it's all fine right now. Headwind onto nose. No gusts yet, and operationally wise, it's an RNAV approach, so we have to do the second part of the checklist.
Checked.
After the briefing, and you're still fit?
I'm fit. I had to figure out what you asked me, but I'm fit. Yes, absolutely.
Do you have any amendments
No.
for the 2P?
Well, actually, yeah, that it's a Category B airport, and yeah, but we can go through it.
Yep, you have
During
checked that
briefing.
during the briefing.
Yeah.
Exactly, the specials. And then it's an RNAV approach on charge 10-2 Delta expected, but to be verified would be a Copad 1 Mike arrival.
Checked.
The routing is verified in the FMS.
Verified as well from my side.
And for the approach, just to make a good descent planning, I will do the leg cock at 5,000 already. And I will do that one as well to 4,000, just so we're early enough.
323, 4,000. Yeah, that's checked.
For the descent planning. And thereafter it's an RNAV approach expected on charge 12-2.
Same.
Will be RNP runway 32 from LTAC 3,500, but then the FAF check at Kilo Oscar 324 2,500 with the 3 degrees glide down to a minimum of 630.
Set.
Checked. And POP is on the left hand side for landing, and then in case of missed approach would that be go around flaps 2, positive rate from your side, gear up, check speed on FMS, and we climb straight ahead runway axis to Kilo Oscar 326, then a left turn direct leg cock again to join the holding pattern, and we climb to 3,000 feet.
Checked.
And there's one amendment. We have MSA 3,800, but which is only over Greek territory. That means Rhodos is quite close to the coast of Turkey. When we turn to the left, we'll be always on Greek territory, so it's fine.
Yeah, true.
And nav-wise, I just have on standby the Kilo Oscar Sierra.
Yeah.
I can do it on your side as well.
Yeah.
And then for the fix info, 120 miles circle, just to give a hint about the descent, and the 25 miles for the MSA.
Perfect.
Any questions, amendments so far?
Let me quickly check. Otherwise, it's good.
Yep.
I have just one thing with the exiting the runway.
Yeah, exactly. After landing, we vacate to the right, most probably.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool Alpha 1 already to take. But if we miss Alpha 1, we have to take Alpha 2, and then after vacating the runway, we have to hold short.
Exactly. And wait for the marshal.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. No further questions.
We're able for normal stand. We have a tow bar in Kos, so should be fine.
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe we could have a chat later on with the ground handling, just to check the parking stand and if there's any special.
Yeah, I will try that.
Wonderful. So briefing completed.
No questions.
And perform the QRH supplementary checklist for RNAV approach, second part.
That's a little bit, yeah, maybe. I don't want to hurt you. Okay, so RMP approach operation, we did the first part already, so now to the second part, approach briefing. Equipment required.
Was verified.
Approach procedure.
Was confirmed.
Navigation sensor.
Is checked.
Go around limit page.
Was set.
Temperature compensation
is not required. Limit is -30 and +50 degrees.
Approach, landing speeds, approach speeds and go around speeds
are inserted and verified.
At the EIF altimeter set and cross check.
Check.
Throughout all the RMP approach sequence tracked aviation monitor.
Yeah.
Approach mode, monitor, and 2 miles before the final approach fix, approach annunciation check.
Checked.
RMP approach operation supplementary check is completed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. I think I already get the weather.
All right, my ATC.
Helvetic 71 uniform from descent flight level 350.
Descent flight level 350, Helvetic 71 uniform.
So the weather, exactly as we calculated. Information Lima from 8:50, runway 32 news with the RNAV approach.
That's as briefed as inserted in the FMS AFIRM.
Transition level 60, wind and weather as calculated, birds in the
Checked.
approach. And runway, actually, frequency news 119.905. I
Checked.
think that's the only tower frequency. That's it.
The tower frequency.
I guess I'd cross-check. It's course approach.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Good.
Perfect. And just if it permits, I will fly a little bit from hand if it's
Sure.
okay for you. And anytime it's getting too stressy, we can switch autopilot on again.
Sure. Sounds
Good for you.
Yeah.
And do you have any idea what the one in front of us could be?
Unfortunately, it's not written very well on the chart.
Okay.
It
We only have the ones which have an airport.
Yeah.
I think it does. On the corner there. On the left, very left end of this island.
On the left hand. Oh, it does. Yeah, right.
That's
But not a big
cool
enough.
one.
Not
For
big
us,
enough.
Maybe.
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have any charts at least. Icaria. Icaros is the name of the airport.
Icaros. Beautiful beaches out there. for
Very
sure.
nice. And further to the left, we can already see the coast of Turkey.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
that's
is.
Turkey.
Yeah,
Oh, that's super close, huh?
it is.
Amazing.
It looks like it has pretty much wind down there. When you look at the sea level,
Yep.
Yeah.
it looks kind of windy down there. So
Right,
we'll
yeah.
see how it is in the approach and course.
Do you see on the right hand side Mykonos? Maybe one of these.
Well,
could be
I see
Mykonos.
a lot of islands. Let me try to figure out which one it is.
It's quite a small
Small
one. I
one.
think it's just a small
Yeah.
one over there without the hills.
Yeah.
Right. Big names for great vacations, right?
Sorry?
Big names for great vacations.
Yeah.
on these islands. Really nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Dear flight guests from the cockpit, very shortly again, with some view on the left hand side, you see Samos, one of over 3,000 islands of Greek, and behind you even see the coast of Turkey. And on the right hand side you may discover the small island Mykonos, and landing now expected in around 20 minutes. I'm back.
Yeah, nothing happens.
My controls.
Your controls. So you can see right now, the magenta line is basically the track where we are on. We fly direct Morix, our next waypoint, which is basically just a beam, our final. So we make after Morix 2 more left turns, and then we're already on our final. As well, you can see a vertical profile. So right now we have a calculated profile which is almost exactly the same as Tamara's flying right now. This means it's economic descent where we don't really need a lot of thrust. It's more or less idle with a good rate of descent. So far everything looks fine for a nice approach.
Select 2,500 feet.
2,500 feet set.
Checked. Select VNAV again.
Helvetic 7-1 uniform overhead, Morix.
Helvetic 7-1 uniform, report final approach fix runway 32.
Wilco, Helvetic 7-1 uniform.
Check barrel set is checked.
Checked.
Arm approach.
Approach armed.
LPV armed.
Checked.
Flaps 2.
Glide path alive.
Checked. Semis approach altitude and heading.
3,000 feet, heading 3 to 3 sets.
Checked. Landing gear down, flaps 3.
Helvetic 7-1 uniform, final approach fix.
Helvetic 7-1 uniform, wind is 340 degrees, 18 knots, runway 32, clear to land. You will vacate at the end of the runway.
Runway 3 to clear to land, vacate at the end of the runway, Helvetic 7-1 uniform.
Clear to land.
Clear to land.
On vacate to the end.
Checked.
2500.
FAF check completed.
Flaps 5. Before landing checklist.
Before landing checklist, landing gear.
Down.
Down, set flap.
5 set.
5 set before landing checklist completed. Stabilized.
Verified.
Runway straight ahead.
Inside.
From the front, 18 knots.
Checked.
Approaching minimum 500.
Checked.
Checked.
Minimum.
Continue.
Checked. Knots.
Checked.
900 meters remaining.
Helvetic 71 uniform, vacate at the end, stand number 6.
Vacate at the end, stand number 6, Helvetic 71 uniform.
300 remaining.
Stand number 6 is approximately in the middle
Checked.
of the stands.
After landing sequence.
APU.
Start.
That was a very nice approach.
Beautiful, huh?
Yeah, very beautiful.
Oh, there's
A Swiss guy over
One
there.
Swiss
At least
guy.
the immatriculation is Swiss.
one Swiss guy who didn't join Helvetic today.
Yeah, poor you.
Shame on him. Yeah, poor him. Yeah.
So the thing is with this aircraft, with the new engines, we need a cool down time of 5 minutes to protect the engines and reduce the wear. So I stopped after landing. We have now 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay.
Already behind us, so 2.5 minutes more, and then we are able to shut down the engines.
Okay.
That's why I try to taxi real slowly and easy. So just not to be on stand and keep the engines running for a long time, since when I'm on stand there are always a lot of people around the aircraft.
Ah, got it.
And I don't want a lot of people around the aircraft when the engines are running.
Yeah.
Stand number 6.
Marshallers inside.
Checked.
Next to the left.
Checked.
Taxi lights off.
So they might be wondering why you're taxiing so slowly, and you've got
That
this very
is
good reason.
exactly the point,
It's
and
amazing.
usually they don't really know what the reason is, so we try, if we have time, to explain them.
Yeah, makes sense.
They're like, come on, hurry up, but it doesn't make sense to stand at the stand for another 2 minutes just to wait.
Yeah.
So exactly, that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah. I would have had no clue.
Yeah, how should you? That's even for the ground staff who is all around the aircrafts all the time, they don't know that. So
Hopefully the guys watch our movie and finally they find out.
exactly.
It's for their protection. It's a good workout for her in this case.
Yeah.
She can do it slowlier.
She's like, what is the ladies doing up there? Very good.
So 20 seconds
Yeah.
to go.
Perfect.
5 minutes past.
Checked.
Good morning, here's flight deck.
All slides are cross-checked.
Disarmed.
Affirm.
Thank you. Shutdown checklist.
Shutdown checklist. Emergency parking brake lever.
You're set.
Engine 1, 2 start. Stop selectors.
Stop.
Hydraulic system 3. Elec pump alpha knob off. Shutdown checklist completed.
Hey guys, welcome to Kos. Fantastic landing. Thank you very much Tamara and Sandra for getting us here with such nice views and a very pleasant time on board. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Now it's time to say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching us. Remember to fly Helvetic whenever you can, and maybe you're lucky and have these two ladies up front.
Would be a pleasure.
See ya later.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Air-Clips.com